The reason that I ended up building mining equipment and also working in mines, I ended up eventually working at Red Dog Mine, and that allowed me enough money to buy the shop. And I've built a fair amount of equipment that's mining related, parts for Fort Knox, parts for Pogo, parts for other mines down in the States, several placer mines. But initially, of course, there was a time when I was a miner. I got drafted into being a placer miner. And what I've seen of placer mining is there's four basic types of placer mines. There's one where the man is extremely cautious with everything he moves, makes sure that all of his moves count. Every little bit of dirt that he's got counts, and he's making money. He got this mine passed down to him, most likely, or he ended up in it through just the luck of it being passed on to him by friends. Then I see another type of miner that is normally not very cautious at all. He's throwing dirt around. He moves a very small amount of material, but he's also doing well. And the reason he's doing well is he just lucked out, happened to have a piece of ground that had quite a bit of gold on it. And it may have been, again, passed down to him through the generations. It was probably a mine that existed one way or another. Then there's the guys that are new to starting up mining. And this is where I was in the field. I was somebody new starting out. And I had heard from a friend of somebody else that there was supposed to be good gold here and you could make lots of money. So I get excited and I go mining. And at the end of the day, I was gamble mining. And that's the great majority of them that start out in it. It's kind of like what you see on Gold Rush, Alaska, is gamble miners. And if they weren't gamble miners, they wouldn't be fun. They wouldn't be exciting. And while they end up making it because the show has helped them out, some of them are not gamble miners too. If you look at that, some of them were, again, generational miners. Then there's a fourth kind of miner. The fourth one takes out a piece of paper, and he actually looks at the ground and sees it's worth a certain amount of dollars per yard. And I'm just going to slop that down here. And then it needs a certain amount of dollars per yard to move it. And at the bottom down here, he has dollars left. And this is the business miner. The business miners are very few as far as somebody new starting out. Business miners may not go out and start as many mines. They may not make it work as often, but they will make it work. A business miner will make it work because he's looking at it as a business. The gamble miners, generally about 1 out of 20 of them make it on just a pure gamble mining. About 1 out of 20. A lot of times it's lies as to how good the ground was, or they have no idea how to move material. But about 1 out of 20 makes it. And what happens that encourages more gamble miners to go out there, just like I had been in the past, the stories that get repeated are the guys that win. The 1 out of 20 that won, and they're making lots of money. That's a good gamble miner. In fact, I'll relate a story to that. A friend of mine, they had some claims, and they've both passed away, both of the partners that had it. They just staked them on paper because they thought it would be good to stake these claims out here. Somebody else had them years ago, and they got dropped. Anyway, they staked the claims. They had them for a couple years. One of them was a really industrious guy. He went out and dug a hole by hand in the middle of winter. He dug down about 10 foot, and he found some gold. And he found lots of gold. He's on his way coming back to town to tell his partner that we need to keep this ground because there's actually gold here. We can make some money. In the meantime, his partner is real excited to tell him, I just sold the claims. I got $10,000. Well, they happened by to look at the guys that were gamble mining on the ground next because they just bought it as a whim and didn't really know how to mine. But they went out there and they were criticizing the new miners that were out there because there was gold at their end of their box just falling off, and telling them that it was time to clean up. You know, they needed to hurry up and get back to their cleanup. And the guy that had the claims that he'd bought from him said, "What do I care? I got enough in the last claim to buy my new D8. It doesn't matter. I'm making plenty of money. Don't bug me." I imagine they probably continued on to do real well. Anyway, the reason I'm not going out and business mining myself, I don't like a lot of the regulations. That's what pushed me out of it years ago, besides just not getting into it at the right time. I thought the regulations were worse than they are. I still toy with the idea. I might do some landscaping someday, but I'm not really into mining per se as an official mining, because it's just, it's not as much fun as it should be. But if I do, it will be from a business standpoint, because I've got other businesses, other things I do. If I didn't know anything else, I would be out there gamble mining, though. I would. I'd take the extra gamble. And some of the ground, unfortunately, while I want to do the business aspect of checking it all out, drilling the ground, seeing what's there, some ground doesn't drill easily. To really check it out, you have to spend money where you're doing bulk samples, and your bulk sampling is close to the same investment as what it is to just go mine it. So sometimes the gamble mining makes sense. Anyway, that's kind of my 4 types of miners that I've seen in the past. Is the cautious miner with medium ground, the miner that hasn't got a clue but he lucked onto some super good ground. They're both different kinds of gamble mining. And then the other class is the business miner, which very few people do. It's not common in the placer mine. It is common in the larger mines. It's common, the big ones are all business mines. However, I think they miss, on another hand, that's in the hard rock, they really miss the medium, small opportunities of hot hard rock ground. They have this idea that if there aren't X many million ounces to pull out, they're not interested in looking at it at all. I've seen a lot of mines that just totally will not consider a piece of ground, and it's bringing in 1.5 ounces or 2 ounces per ton on the reports, but it's less than 1 million ounces total, so they don't care about setting up or looking at it. And to me, that's just brain dead. But there doesn't seem to be the business aspect to really look and work at those. Anyhow, just some of the things that I've noticed. I've got the one video posted with the trommel running there, and I'll do one at some point. 2 of them, one of things that I've learned a little bit about geology. I'm not a geologist. I'm not good at that, but there's a couple of things, a crossover from normal geology of hard rock and geology of placer that I've learned. And some of the things I've learned as far as how to design a plant so it actually works instead of doesn't work. What's important.